This is the Mooncast. I don't know if you guys knew, but actually, venture capital is at its lowest since
Yeah,
2018.
we
Yeah,
saw.
in terms of funding,
Mm.
but it's starting to pick back up. There's no more scammy stuff. They're doing a lot more due diligence, which is great. I think it's showing maturity. I think within the space, and I think the space is evolving slowly. I actually have a theory, right? And I want to bring it up to you guys and let me know what you guys think, because as you guys know, Binance just recently got in trouble with everything and the money laundering, and then they have to pay the $4.3 billion fine, and CZ's potentially going to have to go to jail for 18 months, or I don't think he will. I think it's going to have probation or whatever. But I actually think that the US is trying to control the market. And if you look at who BlackRock is aligned with to be their supplier for the Bitcoin ETF, it's Coinbase, right?
Mm.
And they're a US company.
Yeah, I saw
And
something like that too. Such a theory about also about FTX and the bitcoins they have in their portfolios, where they
mhm,
are now, and that they are under the control of the government. I think,
yeah.
but I don't know the details.
Yeah, I just find it really interesting that the two centralized exchanges that were much bigger than Coinbase are the ones that they're going after. And those ones, yeah, one of them was a scam one, I think, with FTX. I actually think Binance is actually pretty good. But I just find it hilarious that Coinbase has been left out in regards to, the legal scrutiny, in comparison to FTX. I think they were going through something legally, but it's not being pushed in terms of the marketing and
Mm.
so much. I think they're trying to control the narrative. And I think also Coinbase has aligned themselves properly, I guess, with BlackRock. So I just find it really interesting to see how the landscape is going. But anyways, I think they had to clean up the entire space for the institutional investors to come in.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to start seeing a shift. This for me might be the biggest, and this might be the last really big run up, because after this is institutional adoption. Where do you guys think we are? Because when you look at like product life cycles, you have so you have the innovators, right? Then the early adopters, then the early majority, then the late majority, then the laggards, right? And so where would you guys say we are in the crypto cycle from '09, from when Bitcoin got created? Like, where would you guys say we are in that
Yeah, at
regard?
least, and what I saw in the past couple of months was because our advisory board partly consists of people working in finance and
Yeah.
private wealth and wealth management in general, but also institutional advisory, family offices, and we see the adoption of crypto assets right here, especially in the German private bank market. That's at least
Mhm.
what I saw. So I think we're now, when you're talking about product cycle, in the stage where institutionals are going to come in, and it's going to be even more.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure, in markets like Asia or markets which adopted very early, it's way easier to do it compared to Germany, for example, or old, let's call it old-fashioned markets, especially when you look
Mhm.
into the wealth sector. But I think the way is on the right way. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Cedric,
Mhm.
what do you think about, because the NFT market, I don't know if you guys are so much into the NFTs, and I just find them so fascinating, so interesting. And I actually think that's going to be the acceleration point for mass adoption. I actually don't think it will be actual tokens. I actually think real world assets, leveraging tokenization models with NFTs, is where the mass adoption is going to come from, alongside gaming. But really, I think the concentration will come in regards to onboarding new users from NFTs. And a particular use case that I always like to bring up is one that involves, because if you look at the real estate market, right? So the prices keep going up to where, millennial Zoomers, our generations, it's very hard for us to acquire one property without having to go into debt. So a way that we could do that is to fractionalize the ownership, right? And how we could fractionalize it in a safe, secure, encrypted manner is with NFTs. And you're starting to see a little bit of these models starting to pop up of this. I saw a really, really early stage project called MyBricks during the last bull market. They tried to replicate something like this. I don't know. I haven't followed up on them recently, but I did notice that this is going to be potentially where I see mass adoption start to pick up from, because when you look at it, well, real estate prices aren't really even going up. What's happening is our wealth is being stolen, right? And our purchasing power is actually decreasing, and so the prices are not really increasing. Purchasing power is just decreasing. But I do think that there's room for where you could maybe do some kind of model where you have, let's say, 500K real estate property, and you tokenize it to 5 different people. And I think this would be a really good solution to where each person has 100K responsibility or equity shares of the entire property, and you run it as a rental property business. And then they have that 100K, say they don't even have 100K, maybe then they could take a loan only on 100K, and they can do a 20% down payment. So it's only 20K. So that's more reasonable. More people have 20K than 100K. And you could fractionalize this. And as the price continue to increase, more people can have access to ownership. And it also can work as well for commercial buildings too, as well. So I find it super interesting. But I don't know what you guys think about the NFT sector. I find it super fascinating with the unique use cases that you can use and leverage.
Yeah, definitely. So about NFTs, I believe the society, but also individuals which were dealing with NFTs needed to adopt first, and kind of like seeing and figuring out this new market, these new opportunities, let's say. But the model you have mentioned is definitely a very interesting one to kind of diversify and have objects compared or combined with real life objects, which we can leverage with NFTs, definitely.
Yeah.
I would love to expand on that. I mean, I just met two guys from Hamburg. Was in Hamburg a couple of weeks ago. Met some young guys doing business, and I think they
How
were
young?
the exact same thing. What did you say? Sorry.
I said how young were they?
I think like 25, 24,
okay.
like that area. And they were doing the exact same thing. So fractionalize the German private real estate market, which is a huge market because it as an alternative asset market, it's great for mass adoption, also for NFTs and for NFT development in general. Because what we saw, and we were talking about that a lot of times, is that we saw a lot of crap, to be honest, in the NFT market. Pump and dump projects, which ruins many people. But I think this is crucial in every process, so that you see what is the real asset right here, and what is the real use case we can use right here. Of course, there's a lot of things we won't see in the future anymore. But there's a lot of different opportunities for NFT usage.
Yeah, for sure. Especially just because of the fact that you have that access to global liquidity. I think that's huge too, and crucial in regards to adoption, because instead of having to look for people just within your niche markets, now you can open up that access to anyone who has access to ETH, anyone who has access to Solana or Cardano or any of these Avalanche, any of these major ones.
Yeah, right. I mean, we saw that also in the stock market and stock investing in general. I mean, I started trading stocks and derivatives when I was like 16, under control of my parents. And back then it was not that cool, to be honest. And these Trade Republic apps came, apps which enabled or empowered people to fractionalize stocks and buy like a third of a stock, which wasn't possible before, so for low fares. So this wasn't possible before, and then we saw the mass adoption, and that's the same thing right here with NFTs. So there's still when you enable empower the mass adoption, is a huge market.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I was thinking, because when you look at the XRP lawsuit, the case that just got settled, recently, the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, if XRP is not a security, then me as an entrepreneur, why would I, if I'm trying to choose between going, into the crypto space, launching a token, tokenizing my sort of business model, as opposed to going to IPO and dealing with all the regulatory hurdles, all the how cost ineffective it is, because you have to pay for the lawyers, you got to pay for X, you got to pay for Y, you got to pay for Z. And when I look at it, and also the fact that you don't have the access again to the global liquidity, as an entrepreneur, I think it would make sense in the future. I have I have a strong sentiment on this. I really truly believe that the stock exchange will eventually become the block exchange, and I just don't see the point, because you can leverage so much more and do things a lot faster because of the quickness in which, for instance, even if you wanted to get for dividends, right? Say you had a dividend, you launched, instead of a dividend stock, you launched it as a cryptocurrency. You could give people the dividends much quicker, and people would be able to get their earnings quicker, and then they would be able to leverage it quicker within the market. So I think we're going to have an exponential growth phase in the economy of people being able to get their money quicker and then leverage it quicker, and then start this flywheel effect of hyper purchasing, like if we just, people being able to get liquidity, access liquidity much faster. So yeah, it's another interesting thing too as well. But I wanted to, because you guys are really big into metaverse consulting. So this is the bread and butter. This is what I want to get into a lot with you guys. I wanted to ask you guys what you think, because we touched on it last time that we spoke. But I just wanted to break it down a little bit more about the education aspect of the metaverse, because I find this sector in being untapped in terms of the market potential. And I wanted you guys to just a little bit break down a little bit your expertise, what you guys know about it in particular. But before that, actually, could you, for the audience, just kind of break down what is the metaverse for people who actually have absolutely no idea what's a metaverse? Doesn't make any sense to them. They think it's a video game. Like, can you just break it down to them, like, what exactly that is?
Cedric,
Go
please.
for it, Erik. Go for it. I will take education in a second.
Yeah.
So basically, first off, we founded the company called Avantech, and we want to empower companies from each and every sector to join the metaverse. Why is the question? Why to join the metaverse? Is way more than gamified experiences as we see in the gaming sector. It's way more, even because I think we were talking about that last time. Real quick was when we grew up, Cedric and I, maybe you also, we did a lot of different things, but not as digitalized as it is right now. So what we're seeing is the generations to come are very tech savvy, and we have to take the productive context and put it into a space where you can empower people to learn and to develop. And the metaverse is the right space for that, because we can enable that. And also, there's a lot of different things we can talk about today, but healthcare is the best example. We're working on that right now in the Middle East to empower young people to learn about healthcare and to prevent them from having diseases. So this is very, very important today, to use these channels, just like the metaverse, for people to develop themselves.
Yeah, for sure. If you could like break it down in a few sentences, like, okay, what exactly is a metaverse? Someone that has literally absolutely no idea, like, how would you break it down to them that simply?
Yeah, I mean,
to be honest, sorry.
No, please go for it.
No, so pretty much what we always, because first of all, the metaverse is a market which is extremely innovative and new. Many people have no idea what the metaverse is and the potential of the metaverse at the end of the day. We're still in a phase of or on a pace of extreme development. There are pretty much updates coming every day. But the basic or the most simple explanation, which we always give out to people which literally have no idea, is imagine a website which you can walk into, like a interactive website, but not interactive in terms of, okay, I click this button and go to the next page or to the next landing page. It's like the walkthrough of content, the walkthrough of information, but also the walkthrough of the actual experience which you can have in the metaverse. And I mean, like there are many metaverse platforms which are on the market since a while. I mean, Fortnite is a term which I believe pretty much everyone knows. But there is actually a wide or a huge difference from platform to platform. So there is, as said, Fortnite, this game based metaverse, let's say. But we focus, as mentioned from Erik before, on many various pretty important and pretty, let's say, complex spectrums, complex topics such as healthcare, but also education and training. And I believe, as you mentioned before, is one of the most important or most exciting fields which will develop within the next couple of months/years. But what we see in education is, or the main use case, the main profitable use case is the combination of education with the option of gamification to make the content, the educated information as interactive and engaging as possible, especially for the younger individuals, as mentioned before, or as Erik mentioned before. I mean, like, and they're little example from my own life. I mean, when my sister got born, I have two younger sisters, and it didn't took them a month to be able to, like, let's say, navigate within an iPhone. So the new generations are extremely tech savvy. I mean, we see a lot of kids in the restaurants, which is sad in one way, but on their iPads, like constantly engaged with technology, with screens at the end. But to take this interest in, let's say, games and this digital realm and combine it with education, I believe we can make a huge impact on the actual learning and absorbing of information for younger individuals.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think about the older cohorts, like the 50 plus guys, the Xers, the boomers? What do you think about them? Do you think the metaverse would be something beneficial for them? And if so, how would you think the best implementation would be for them to be able to use it and the usability of it for them?
I believe there is pretty much no age restriction for the metaverse, because at the end of the day, it seems harder than pretty much, like, let's say, to use an iPhone. But also, and I mean, like, I believe everyone of us made this experience already, but showing our grandparents how to use an iPhone, how to send an email digitally. So I believe it's all a question of adoption and the way of how we can bring the metaverse and we can bring the technology to also older individuals, which can be done with various ways, such as training experiences, training in general. Because at the end, I believe the metaverse is another field, same as diving. Once you have the basics once you know the basics, it's pretty much self-explanatory to move and go on from there. So I believe there's it's going to be harder, especially for the older generations. But I believe it's also a topic or a field which is definitely doable, let's say.
Hey bro, I'm just trolling is something that will not just challenge your perspective, but also touch your heart and soul. It's a book that defies convention, blending art and literature into a thought-provoking masterpiece. A reflective piece of provocative art that tackles societal constructs from angles you've never considered. Hey bro, I'm just trolling delves into the very essence of our existence. It questions the technology that surrounds us, challenges our notions of beauty, stares unflinchingly into the eyes of death, and questions the boundaries of freedom. It scrutinized the educational system that molds our very future. This book is a journey, an exploration of shared human experience, and it's a work of art that refuses to be confined by tradition. It's a canvas painted with words, a melody of thought, and a testament to the power of creativity in a world dominated by algorithms and data. Visit moonboycapitalventures.com and get your hands on Hey Bro, I'm Just Trolling today. It's not just a book, it's a movement. Now let's jump back into the show.
Yeah, I think a while ago we were talking to an insurance company from Europe, German-speaking market, and we were just acting like as if we were customers, just to see what their experience looks like. So the spy game, and that's what you have to do with your peer group, of course, because we want to do the best customer experience. But we just wanted to look into the space, talk to the guy how it came that they implemented the metaverse for their insurance company. The interesting thing right there was that the majority of people who had already joined this metaverse space from the insurance company was people from age like 35 to 54.
Wow. Okay.
We thought the same thing. Like, how come that, like, let's say people from a different generation compared to ours joins the metaverse for getting information about insurances? But we think in every generation there's people adopting disruptive technologies and not adopting disruptive technologies, or just looking into them. And yeah, I think it's very interesting, just because also we have so much use cases, from real estate to healthcare, as we already said, education. Also, people who don't have that much time to meet. I mean, we saw it in the COVID crisis that everyone, no matter how old, was looking for an alternative channel to teamwork, to do team development. Yeah. And as soon as that happens once more, I don't hope so, or we don't hope so, but this will adopt way more for everyone.
Absolutely. You know, when I look at the metaverse, because I kind of see, the way I describe it is kind of we're kind of already in the metaverse, right? For me, this is the metaverse. Us talking right now, you know, on this podcast, being able to connect digitally, is just kind of making that experience more immersive. You know, maybe having some sort of digital avatar and being able to walk around, having that digital avatar have some uniqueness to it in terms of metadata, and maybe being able to transfer that metadata from one metaverse to another. So maybe I'm jumping with my avatar from Instagram to then a Zoom call to then a LinkedIn to then a YouTube. And I think that's where I see everything being able to, the ending point of all of this, you know, and also the synergies with now I'm in the metaverse, and maybe I can purchase things with cryptocurrency while I'm also in the metaverse too as well. I mean, we've seen sort of these tokenization models as well work in sort of like games, you know, for instance, where these tokenization models worked. They just did, you know, people were buying skins. And I think that we could implement some kind of system in place where you have, you know, some digital tokens and things of this nature and rewards, and gamify it, as you said too previously as well, which makes absolute sense for me. But my question is, how do we make the identities agnostic? Like, what would be the best implementation for that? For instance, I have my metadata, and because, you know, we have this issue right now in the Web2 space of, okay, I want to have a YouTube profile. I gotta get a username and password. I want to have a Zoom profile. I gotta get a YouTube password. I want X. I want to get on X platform, or this platform, or that platform, and I have to get a username and password. How can we alleviate having 75,000 username and passwords, and sort of breaking that down into just one sort of unique metadata that gets transferred agnostically from one metaverse to another? I don't know if you guys thought about this potential bottleneck within the metaverse space.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are many. Or at the end, it's always depending on what kind of technology and what kind of updates or progresses each platform, but the whole spectrum, let's say, makes. But we believe maybe crypto and crypto wallets could be a good way to kind of interconnect every platform and every service with each other. Of course, this is a very, very complicated and very huge task to do. But let's say with a public key, or like every crypto wallet has different keys, private but also public keys. Maybe have an interconnection between keys to kind of have I don't know how you should call it, a metaverse ID, let's say, your little identification card for the metaverse, but kind of having one key or one database which is used for the interconnection of the whole realm, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely.
kind of the same in gaming when you think about it. I think Cedric, you told me about that you can play Call of Duty with PlayStation gamers, but also Xbox gamers right now. So
Yes,
that's the
yes.
kind of thing we're talking about. And of course, as Cedric said, it always depends on the technologies. I mean, we can't even tell what the metaverse is going to look like in 5 years. I mean,
Yeah.
next year we're awaiting the drop of the Apple VR
Yeah.
or mixed reality glasses, and that's a
Mhm.
huge step for spatial computing, as they call it.
Mhm.
Metaverse, it's kind of the same. So we don't know, but we hope that there's a way of interconnecting these platforms. But I mean,
Yeah.
even in our today's world, we see a lot of different platforms um, connected via, as you said, Gmail, for example. So
Mhm.
maybe another player which enables that would be great.
Yeah, I do think there needs to be some kind of standardized, maybe open sourced SDK, so to speak, to where everyone is kind of uniformly agreeing upon to use and leverage as an interoperability solution to sort of dictate, okay, we're all using the same standard, so that way your metadata can get easily transferred from one location to another. And another thing too, as well, when I look, because you mentioned gaming, but interesting thing too that I always look to is, for instance, you're playing a video game, you leveled up your character, and it's on the PlayStation. And there's two problems that I see. One of them is the fact that you can't, like you said, jump from your PlayStation to then your Xbox with the same character. Another thing is when they come out with a new game, and now that character can't be used anymore. You gotta start over with a new character. So what if there was a way to transport that character into the new game? And also, when you want to stop playing, say you get too old, you have a family, you have kids, whatever the situation may be, you can just rent that character out to somebody else, or you could sell that character to somebody else on the NFT marketplace too, as well. So I think this would enable this sort of model for people to actually earn money, from their hard work and effort and the time that they're never going to be able to get back. And this is why, again, I go back to NFTs, because I truly believe NFTs is really that. I know the JPEG and the monkey drooling stuff and all the kind of degenerate stuff that we saw in the previous bull market. But I was always super into the tech. I launched my book as an NFT on the Polygon blockchain. Ended up being one of the first 100 authors to do so. And for me, I just see the idea of intellectual property and being able to own your own property. Like, say, imagine you have your own tweet and you can sell your own tweet, or you can sell your own Instagram picture that you put on Instagram. Because once you put and upload those things on their databases, it's no longer yours. And this idea of ownership and being able to smoothly transition. Imagine if you look at plane tickets. Oh man, I booked the wrong flight and blah blah blah. Imagine you could just go on an NFT platform and post your plane ticket. Someone else could snatch it up, right? And immediately they can go on a flight. This would be a huge solution, and it would alleviate so many problems, But I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean that's very interesting, especially the idea of exchanging flight tickets. I immediately thought about the legal framework we would need for that in order to ensure the security and stuff like that, especially when it
Mm,
comes to flights, public transportation in general.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean there's a lot of work to do. We're also talking about that with customers that the legal framework should be done in a very serious way. And I
yeah,
mean, we see kind of these developments in the European Union, but it has to be way faster in order to still be an early adopter,
mm,
and so not to be the last one in this race. And that's exactly why we also chose to be a part of this development in the Middle East, because we
mm,
see a lot of development and a lot of openness, a stunning openness towards the implementation of these disruptive technologies. And this has a lot to do with the visions they have for their countries.
yeah,
For example, in the Oman, you have the Oman Vision 2040. I mean, I think in UAE it's Vision 2030, and they want to
hmm
be at the top in each and every sector, especially in the technological sector. And so they are very fast moving, and that's what we love.
yeah, absolutely. Cedric, you mentioned recently about the gamification in conjunction with education. Can you speak a little bit more to that and just expound upon it and what it actually means and how that shift will happen in regards to disrupting this particular industry in terms of education?
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
So as mentioned, we have or younger individuals are growing up. Younger individuals already adopted. Already, yeah, they already know at the end how to use the technology. I believe it's
Yeah.
no big hustle for them either to join a complex metaverse construct. But the idea of combining education with the gamification is at the end to generate a smooth and interactive knowledge absorption. I don't know if you
Mhm.
can call it like this. So at the end, imagine there is one game, I forgot the name of it, but the only purpose is kind of to fly higher. Pac-Man
Mhm.
or something. No, not Pac-Man. Pac-Man is another one. But it's an old iPhone game. You kind of have a rocket on and you jump from level to level.
Perfect.
But
Oh, I remember
uh,
it.
I forgot the name. Something
Ah,
with Pac. It has
I-
something with Pac, I believe. It's like a little green thingy that
yeah,
flies
I know
from
what you're
level
talking
to
about.
level. Well,
Yeah.
so kind of imagine an educated, or let's say we have a math topic. We have a lot of math formulas to learn. So each level is each step or a step to get the whole formula or part of it.
Mhm.
And kind of on each level you get you get knowledge, and then you have to prove that you can use the knowledge just learned, and the reward. And that's one of the biggest things. It's the interaction of, okay, I did something and I get direct reward. Because I
Yeah.
mean, like in school you learn something and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later you have a test, and the reward
Yeah.
is if you made it a good grade, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not satisfying kids anymore, or most of the kids are not satisfied by this model. So let's say you go on a math level in the metaverse, and you complete your 10 levels, and let's say at the end of each level you get a token, or you get an item. And if you complete a specific amount of levels, or you collected or earned a specific amount of tokens, whatever it is at the end, you can go and buy yourself something, rather in the real world. So you transfer from crypto or from a wallet to real money, or at the end buy something digitally. Let's say
Mhm.
a new sweatshirt for your avatar, or you name it. There are so many options, and again, the metaverse is developing on a daily basis. We have no idea what we face in 3 years. We have no idea
Yeah.
what we face in 5 years. So it's like a very interesting process of, and it has to do with a lot of imagination, a lot of creativity, and a lot of young individuals who have, I don't want to call crazy ideas, but interesting ideas to develop.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, are we headed towards us spending, because we're already kind of, a lot of people generally speaking are spending a little bit more time on their phones than they are in real life, but are we headed towards a situation where majority of everything will be done within the metaverse? It's just a theory, because when you think about it, right, imagine now I wake up, let's say there's a VR integration, I'm putting in my VR headset and I'm walking to work with my digital avatar, and I get to work, and boom, there's like a Zoom meeting that's going on, but it's like 3D, it's immersive. I have like a suit on or whatever. And then I maybe get done with that, and then I boom go take a course at Harvard in another metaverse, with the instructor that's taking that. And then I'm earning maybe some rewards from that, and I'm taking those rewards and I'm moving it into like an e-commerce store within the metaverse. And then, and then now I want to buy digital property within the metaverse because there's like 1 million pieces of or 1 million sort of people coming in and out of the land property that I bought. And then now I can now pitch it to advertisers, and now I've loaned out leased out my land to the advertisers, and then they're advertising on the land. Are we headed towards? Is this where we're going? Like I don't know. Is this the future?
Yeah, it's I believe or what we believe is not to an extreme extent. I mean, like in real life we still have to eat, we still have to drink water, we still have to sleep, we still have to take a shower once in a while. So it's we don't know. No, but I don't think so. I don't think so that it's going to be an extreme change to like actual everything is in the metaverse. What we think is pretty interesting is a solution with mixed reality. So having your or parts of the metaverse, but also your real life incorporated, or your real view, your real vision incorporated in one, let's say, device, in one process of whatever you do at the end. So let's say you go to a grocery store, you see your fridge, your real life fridge on the left, and it directly takes, or you kind of, and I don't know if it's already or it will be like the metaverse or the actions controlled by actual thoughts. So there will be devices calculating or analyzing the thoughts and then directly putting them or implementing them. I don't think it's going to be that or not anytime soon. But what I believe will be a very interesting opportunity, or a very interesting way of actually implementing mixed reality is, let's say, you in the morning you wake up and you say, okay, today I want to eat, I don't know, a piece of meat with a nice side and a nice sauce. And you go to your fridge, you open it, and the mixed reality device already detects, okay, this and this and this you have in the fridge, and this you need. So you kind of go virtually into the supermarket, get everything you need, and maybe, I don't know, by the time gets delivered by drone. Also a very, very interesting topic we can maybe knock out in a further conversation. But it's gonna, or the switch of what will be possible in the future will be immense. And there will be many exciting solutions. What at the end will be actual real life or actually implemented, is an extremely hard but also huge topic. We don't know. No one knows. We don't know where we will be in 2 years with the whole metaverse.
Right. I mean, this came to my mind because we're always talking about time efficiency when it comes to implementing the metaverse. Let's take the example of doing insurance stuff, and you have to get your insurance for whatever, and that's what we were talking about when we were talking about the whole insurance sector and how it could be implemented there, and where's the benefit for the customer. That younger people may not have that much interested in going to an insurance office and doing their insurance. Instead, they could save a lot of time doing it via the metaverse or digital channels, to use that time for things they love, time with their families, time in the nature. So maybe combining these two things, doing stuff in the metaverse way more efficient than it is right now or it was before, can actually make life more easy and more efficient in a time standpoint. Yeah.
Are we moving too fast?
I mean, when we're in general, you mean? I mean, when we're looking at implementation of disruptive technologies, we're looking at the AI sector, for example. I mean, even Elon Musk said we're moving too fast. It was very, very interesting to see or to hear. I mean, we've seen a lot of development in the past couple of decades compared to the overall history. Maybe in some areas we are moving too fast, but the thing is, it's not about the technology itself. It's about the people who use it and for what. So I don't think it's about are we moving too fast, but are we moving into the right direction? As you were saying before, are we moving in this kind of future where everything is digitalized? I don't want that too. I don't want that either. And that's not wrong. Even though I'm in a metaverse consultancy, I just want you to combine these things, and also the usage should be for the right things. That's the main point.
Because here's the thing. Because I was also looking at, I saw an article about a young lady that was monetizing her personal brand by leveraging AI chatbot to have like thousands of different boyfriends.
Yeah.
And my fear is because with communication, right? I don't know if you guys noticed about me, but I haven't had social media for almost 10 years. And I'm just now back on the internet, learning the internet. But I was able to build soft skills of communication and, all the different elements of that. So for me, it's kind of weird to know that the Zoomers and eventually the alphas, generation alphas will be in a different sort of space where they will not know how to communicate with humans normally, with women normally. And I don't know if you guys see a world in which more and more people are falling in love with photographs and chatbots and alternative means of connection.
Yeah, an extreme, and that's the thing. The metaverse is so exciting, but or AI in general, the whole realm, the whole spectrum is so exciting. But it's same as a supercar. I mean, like if you don't know how to drive a supercar and you accelerate too much, yeah, you will crash eventually.
Yeah.
But the most important part is to use, and what Erik mentioned before, to use the metaverse and the technology to make processes which are not, or let's say in other words, boring processes, but also time consuming processes in which you have to travel first to let's say get something approved. For example, a visa, you can just go and do a visa appointment on Zoom, at least not now after COVID. So you kind of have to go to the embassy and you do all the stuff. You wait in a waiting room because the client before, the person before came late. So it's at the end all, I don't want to call it waste of time, but yeah, it's not as time efficient as it can be. So to use the metaverse and the technology, but also AI, chatbots, all that stuff in a effective and profitable way. And profitable, I mean not monetary, profitable in time wise or time consumption wise. I believe the metaverse can be or the general technology can be very, very profitable, or at the end positive. But what you mentioned, that basic community or communicating skills, the community within is breaking apart. That's actually a topic which is worrying us as well. Kind of that we we don't know how to socialize anymore. We don't know how to. I mean, or a stupid example is like 2 weeks ago, I saw someone before me in line ordering food, and that person almost got a mental breakdown because she had so much anxiety. She was so nervous to order that food that she almost collapsed. And that is something which is kind of worrying me, because as you said, there is people which are spending more time on the phone, on the digital life, if it's social media or on some video games, than in real life. And that's actually a topic which we have to try to eliminate, and make the metaverse, but the technology so immersive that for example, mixed reality is combining real life with the technology and making a smooth, effective, time effective experience.
Yeah, I always worry that, let's say 15 years from now, we maybe get to a point where people are so detached from reality that they don't know what real is. And I know this is getting a little bit conspiracy, I don't want to, the Matrix and so on, but it's really, because for me, I went through a long period of struggling for almost 10 years of not embracing technology. And I felt great. I felt great. I didn't feel like I was necessarily missing out, but then, something stuck out to me when I read an article about the importance of, content and, and all these different types of things. So that was the starting to realize, okay, I need to be out there and have a digital footprint and have a digital presence and online presence to build a personal brand and so on and so forth. It just kind of made sense to me. And, I guess all of us are kind of not trying to miss the boat, right? In regards to being at the cutting edge of what I like to call the exponential growth phase of technological advancement, right? And for me, a little bit, sometimes I get a little bit worried because when I talk to the younger generations, because I'm a millennial, late stage, when I talk to the Zoomers, I'll tell you a quick story actually that's a little bit slightly off topic, but not really. It coincides a little bit with the main narrative. But I was in Croatia and I was talking with some Zoomers, and I like to call them Zoomers. I don't know if that's the official word, and it's Gen Z, but yeah, and yeah, I was interacting fairly easily with the women in Croatia, and they were like, "Bro, give us some of your Riz." And I was like, "What's Riz?" So for the audience that doesn't know, I just realized this new word. This is actually this summertime, so I just realized this new word called Riz, and I guess it has to do with swag and charisma and all this different types of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "No, he's like, there's no secret formula. You just communicate, And for me, I just find it super, super fascinating. I find them super interesting because they just simply can scroll on a TikTok super loudly for hours at a time and let the time go by. And I'm like, man, you're in Croatia. Enjoy life.
Mhm.
Life is beautiful. Like, look, we got, water. We're by the beach. There's beautiful people everywhere. It's like I don't really, a part of me a little bit just worries that this is the new generation that's coming in, but I don't want to be an old timer and be one of those get off my lawn type of old timers, but I don't know what you guys think. Like, do you think we're getting too detached from reality? And I'm just trying to play contrarian here. And is this a net positive, or you think it will be a net negative for society in the long term?
Yeah, I mean, it's always very, very hard to say in which direction we're heading right now.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID, global pandemic, did its work in a negative way.
Yeah.
People get detached from reality and at their very, very early stages of their lives. Yeah, parts of their life they should be with their friends in school, making connections for their whole lives, long-lasting relationships.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of work to be done from us as a society to have this to have both, and there's no secret formula to that. It always also depends on the person itself. We have to empower people to talk to each other again, especially since the pandemic is over. As said, I hope that there's not another one coming. And I think it needs a bit more time for people who maybe grew up also in the pandemic to feel what this real freedom means and what they can do in the real world, and use it for their advantage and for their social development, personal development. And yeah, as you said, there's a lot of people spending so much time on social media. I mean, also myself and Cedric and I, we're talking always about that, because in our generation, it's so important to have a great Instagram. And when you're in a relationship, for example, you have to post it. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I know.
People take it as a serious part of their relationship, and we don't do that anymore because we want to be free. We don't want to have handcuffs on just because we didn't post something on social media, even though when we were meeting with friends and we don't post that we were having lunch together. We have to not over or no, let's say like that. Now we have to see that it's not that important to have everything on your social media. And that's so important. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people are leveraging actually social media a lot for it's a fine line, man. Because the older I get, the more I realize life is just like perspective. Because many people are leveraging it to build their brand and monetize. So they're posting their lives because they're selling their lives, right? And in return, they're able to grab attention. And then once they grab the attention, they try to retain the attention and then convert the attention, right? But yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily right or wrong. It's so blurred. We're the internet for me is like the Wild Wild West right now.
Right.
Nobody knows anything. It's crazy.
No, definitely, definitely. But at the end, as Erik mentioned, there's always that one side of, okay, I use social media to actually leverage my brand, to actually grow my virtual brand, or grow my e-commerce store, whatever. But there's this other, I believe, 70% of, as soon as they go and eat one French fry, they need to be, hey, look here, my lunch, French fry. Like, where's the point? First of all, where's the point? And second of all, who cares? I mean, like, anyways, most of the people skip all the stories, and don't really pay attention to. And that's, as mentioned before from Erik, that's one of the reasons why we changed our social media status again, to be kind of this far outside viewer. I mean, last time Erik and I posted something was a month ago. So I mean, like, it's that point of, or it's that difference of, okay, I actually use it to generate something, to generate a beneficial outcome, if monetary or not. And there's that other side which just posts to have that fake life on, or that, and I always differentiate one, like, virtual life, social media life, that social media character, and then to the actual real life person, because most of the times, if you see some couples or happy people on social media, in real life, at the end of the day, when they lay down in their bed, they're not happy at all, because they have to constantly kind of prove to others that they're happy, and they fall deeper and deeper in that spiral of actually not keeping up with that happiness, because happiness is not something a human should have all the time. Happiness is something that you should get rewarded with. And if you fakely post your happiness all the time, I believe that can also have a huge effect of the actual mental health of the individuals behind all these accounts.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to add on that. Is we met some influencers on our journey as a company, people who have like 300 to 500k followers on Instagram, and I always have the feeling like they kind of underestimated the pressure, as Cedric said, the pressure to create content, and that they actually sell their lives, and they don't have any option anymore, because they're way too deep down that rabbit hole. And yes, that's very hard. I mean, you pay a price for that, because influencers are getting a lot of money from sponsorships and partnerships, as we all know. But the price is also very, very huge. And I think the point where you realize that it's I mean, you can always stop your being an influencer, but it's very hard for people to then say, okay, I want my real life back, or I just want or get the money even more.
Yeah, it's actually, man, it's one of these tough things, man, because actually I started a travel YouTube channel too as well. I'm trying to grow my online presence, and it's now becoming a little bit weird. I'm almost at, like, I'm a very small. I'm like almost at 2K subs, and it's just weird because I live in Bulgaria, and I'm a little bit, people kind of know me a little bit here. So I came back to Bulgaria, and I was walking on the street, and some kid came up to me. He's like, aren't you in Spain? And I was like, because he saw my YouTube, and he saw I was posting Spanish content. He's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, it's crazy how people don't know that, like, this content lags, and it's just, it's all promotion, at the end of the day. And it's one of those blurred lines where, I'm trying to learn this too, as well as, a podcaster, a YouTuber. Then, I have the startups and stuff that I'm doing as well, but I'm just trying to just navigate, because it's all completely new. Like, imagine, I haven't scrolled on a timeline, guys, in like almost 10 years. I'm learning everything, like, from scratch. Luckily, my current girlfriend that I have now, she helps me a lot with, because she's actually she's a marketer, professional expert. She works with companies and stuff, and she helps me a lot to navigate through how all this stuff works. I'm like, oh my God, Instagram changed. It now has like stories and all this stuff, because I just I didn't care about none of it. But now that I'm starting to realize everyone's getting online, that number is going to continue to increase, and you're going to have new client base, that's fresh. It's coming every single year, and that's going to be growing at a compound annual growth rate that's very lucrative for you to be putting out content, whatever that content is, whether it's business, it's investing. I try to mesh it in my YouTube channel with doing some business, doing some travel, doing some investing content to just increase the brand awareness of me as a personal brand. And it's a struggle, man. It's a struggle. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you because I absolutely do not like. I wish I didn't have to be online at all. You know? I wish I could just live my life peacefully, you know. And I remember with one of the employees I used to have, he just kept telling me like, boss, you got to get back online. You got to get on the internet. You got to get on the internet. You know, we'll scale our clientele base. And he was absolutely right. You know, like it's easy to book appointments and leads. You know, I use LinkedIn and my podcast. Every person my podcast on LinkedIn, also LinkedIn as the main traffic source for generating warm leads. And it's worked amazing, you know, for me. And before I was using cold email and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where it's beneficial, but, you know, again, like at what price, you know? And I think it depends really what you're trying to do, where you're trying to be. But for me, I think having online presence, you're going to be able to leverage that because the compounded authority that you'll have over a 6, 7, 8, 9 year time span on the internet. And yeah, it's the price that you pay with that though too as well. So, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like, yo, aren't you supposed to be in Spain? It's just still super funny. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything has its perks and negative points. Yeah, it's everywhere. Everything you do at the end has positive and negative points. Exactly. So yeah, let's see where this whole story goes of the whole digitalization, let's say. But it's definitely, if we use it correctly and if we don't do any too crazy moves, it's in particular with AI. I believe the adoption will be taking place. But as you said, the most important point is that we just pay attention to our real life as well. Just go outside, go in the forest, look at, I don't know, go and check out some birds or I don't know, do something. But the problematic with being literally 12 hours on a screen is definitely a huge one, which we have to pay attention to, so it's not taking over.
Yeah,
I mean, you were also talking about LinkedIn, and we found it so fascinating because I'm on LinkedIn, I think, for a couple of years now, like 5 or 6 years maybe, and I always use it just for fun. When we were starting our company, we saw even before that it enables people to reach out to people you could never contact before, and that's so crazy what LinkedIn did for people just like us, for young business people starting their own companies. It's such a huge benefit. It's a blessing. So LinkedIn is definitely my favorite, or our favorite social media. I use it every day on the weekends. Doesn't matter. So when I talk about the social media in general, I accept LinkedIn, I have to say. So LinkedIn is it's a blessing for us, for all of us.
All right. So before we go, I just have one more question because we're running a little bit out of time. I'd love to keep this conversation going, but do you guys think that all of social media will be in the metaverse at some point?
It's hard to tell. I think there will be integrations of social media platforms. When you look at Pinterest, for example, could be that people have their pin boards in galleries. So art galleries, we're also advising art companies on starting their galleries in the metaverse, but that's a different topic. So yeah, social media, I think there's use cases for that, and not every social media company will use that, or will it take their advantage from that. But yeah, there will be definitely.
Yeah. What about you, Cedric? What do you think?
I think so. There will be a couple of complications, but what I could imagine will work really good is that kind of interactive scrolling through Instagram Reels. So you're kind of not watching a screen; you're kind of in the reel. Let's say, I don't know. Yeah, you're in the content. In other words, but the adoption of various platforms, I think, will happen to a big extent, but I believe not every platform has the potential to successfully be in the metaverse. But I believe a main part of it will definitely be in the metaverse and have that interactive kind of direct experience out of the screen. And that's at the end one of the most important features. You're not looking on a screen anymore. Well, at the end, you're looking on a screen in your VR glasses. I know, but you kind of feel, or you're kind of incorporated in the whole space, and you're able to freely move. So I believe many social media platforms will actually have great potential.
Yeah, maybe we get the chance to implement your Spain vlogs to the metaverse.
Exactly.
Spain.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. But no, I actually want to wait. One more thing before we go, because when you look at Facebook, right? Because they rebranded to Meta. Was that just marketing? Do you think are they really about to go into the meta? What are your thoughts on Meta?
We believe, or no, go for it, Erik. I've actually it's said in one sentence, so go for it.
All right. So from a financial point of view, I think Meta did the rebranding for incorporating their vision. I think that's my true belief. But why they kind of stopped on this whole metaverse trend in this scale they had in the beginning is that they have to have their investors in their backs, and this takes longer than 1 quarter to implement these technologies, and investors don't really see the potential maybe, and maybe there has to be more technological development. But I think also the branding Meta itself is here to stay, and I think they will develop great stuff.
100%. That's basically what I wanted to say. I believe, and that's the biggest issue with Meta yet. They need to have their investors in the back, which are constantly pushing them forward. But I believe Meta is working on a pretty big solution. So maybe we see something in the next couple of years, hopefully even earlier, coming from Meta. But I believe when they join the market completely with their Meta full build out solution, I believe it's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be a big thing.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Yeah. So, guys, where can people find you and your company on the internet?
I mean, you can find us on LinkedIn. Just look for Avantech. And you can find us at www.avantech.space. That's our webpage. That's the channels where you can find us, or just contact us under contact@avantech.space. We would love to engage with you guys. So thanks a lot. Maybe we can do an experience for you. It would be great, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll leave links down below. I appreciate you guys for coming on, man. This has been another amazing episode of the Mooncast, man. And peace.
Appreciate it.